So today I'm going to show you how I made this Oscar the Grouch Cake. So I'm going to start out this cake project by using this 10-inch round cake board that I'm going to use to construct the lid for Oscar's trash can. Next, I'm going to take a bit of gray fondant and start kneading it out. I'm using cornstarch to ensure that the fondant doesn't stick to anything as I'm rolling it out. Now let's place the fondant on top of the cake board and roll it out to the edge. Oh my, I can't find my paring knife. I need my paring knife. I need it to cut the edges. I need it to cut the edges. So let's try that again. Now I'm going to take my paring knife and trim the fondant to the edge. Now let's roll out a little bit more gray fondant. This time, this piece of gray fondant will cover the underside of Oscar's lid. So now I'm going to trim the bottom piece of fondant and attach it to the top piece. I'm going to attach it by using a crimping method, the same way you would a pie shell. Crimping the pieces together randomly will help me to achieve that old, worn look that I want. So now let's trim it up and use some piping jelly to help it all stick together. And now I'm rolling out a smaller strip of gray fondant. I'm going to use it as the handle to the lid of the trash can. So now I'm going to put a small amount of buttercream onto the cake drum to keep the cake from sliding around. I'm using peanut butter buttercream to frost the 4 10-inch round chocolate cake layers that I made for Oscar's can. I'm frosting them in two 2-layer sections and using a cake board to go between layers 2 and 3. Dividing the can portion of the cake into 2 separate sections will allow me to add a support system within the cake to keep it sturdy. Here I have 2 6-inch spheres, and I'm going to use a serrated bread knife to carve out Oscar's mouth. I'm using the tip of my paring knife to make a hole into the center of this 3-inch cake board that I'm going to use as support for Oscar's head. And now I'm covering his head with a vanilla buttercream that I dyed a dirty green. Now let's add a second coat of peanut butter frosting to the can portion of the cake. And now I'm using bubble tea straws as a support system. The straws will support the weight of the top portion of the cake as well as everything else that I'm going to pile on top. You might have noticed that I didn't frost the cake to a smooth finish, nor did I allow the buttercream to set up. I'm hoping this will aid me in the look that I'm trying to achieve. Here I have about a pound of fondant that I'm going to roll out to cover the can portion of the cake.
Now let's put it on top.
Now you might notice some seams towards the bottom. I left it that way on purpose. Now let's clean up the bottom. Here I've already added some impressions to the can, the same way I did with the lid, using a small rolling pin. You might also notice a dented effect on the sides of the can. I was able to achieve this by not letting the buttercream set completely. Now let's add some details to the can. Here I'm airbrushing in some yellow, orange, and burgundy to give it a rustic look. Let's do the same with the lid. And now let's use black on top to give a hollow look for the inside of the can. Now for a silver sheen on the sides. Now let's use a little black for detail. Let's give the same effect to the lid. It's time for a couple more bubble tea straws to support Oscar's head. Let's give him some eyes. Now for the inside of his mouth. He does need a tongue. Let's put some detail on that tongue. You know, that little line that goes down the center? Let's give him some hands, made out of cereal treats. Now let's pipe on his fur using a multi-hole Russian piping tip. I'm adding the fur in different directions because, as we know, Oscar's fur is kind of matted. Let's go ahead and add that unibrow of his. Now, to get that lid attached was a bit tricky, so here I'm being a little bit creative. Here, I have a lollipop stick, some rice cereal treat, and some melted ice malt that I'm going to use as glue. So there you have it, my Oscar the Grouch Cake. Oscar is just looking out of his can and checking out all of the scenery. So I hope you enjoyed my video on how I made this cake. If you did, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. I'm Aaron Glapion for We Dream of Cake.